So what is dating like for a trans woman after she's had sex reassignment surgery? What things may be easier or more difficult, or what things may kind of stay the same? So first of all, I definitely feel much more comfortable and confident. And I think that makes dating easier in some ways in terms of if I feel more confident about my own body, if I feel like I have the potential to be more attractive to other people, I think that's going to make me feel more inclined to pursue dating relationships. But there are still some complexities that arise. There are a lot of men out there who are attracted to specifically pre-op trans women, and that can make things a little complicated with certain partners after the fact. Then we have to tease through, like, are these men chasers, or are they also looking for something emotionally deeper and they just happen to be attracted to a woman who also has a penis, which is perfectly fine. I know that issue can be controversial to discuss, but we have to like tease apart, like, is this just some weird fetish or is this a genital preference? And then at the end of the day, the person who's attached to those genitals is still really the most important piece. I bring that up because I think it's important to revisit genital attraction because it is a thing. We have our genital preferences, and I'm not really going to go into that whole spiel of like, are they transphobic? Because I did do an old video on that, and I don't really agree with the points I've recorded back then. I'll just say, no, I don't think they're transphobic, and we're going to move on. In some ways, my experience is going to be different because I am lesbian and I'm not attracted to men. I bring that up again because I typically tend to be attracted to cis woman partners who have vaginas. But when it comes to dating post-op, I still encounter, I think, some of the same difficulties I encountered pre-op. The assumptions people may have about me because I'm transgender. Like a lot of people in this world, especially like queer and trans people who it may be harder to find partners just like out in the wild, I engage in online dating. And I've talked about in previous videos about my experiences of like, do I tell them ahead of time? Yeah, I mean, I maybe think there are things about me that may make it obvious or give indications that I am trans when I meet them in person, like my voice or my height. But online, they might not necessarily encounter any of that ahead of time, so I do have more control, I think, over whether or not I tell them. And when I do tell them, there are assumptions that often come up with that, where it's like, oh, you're trans. Oh, that means you're a woman with a dick, or you're actually just a man. And a lot of conversations immediately die after that comes up, which is why I don't always immediately tell it, because I want to see if there's any sort of emotional compatibility ahead of time. So this is a problem that I think exists pre and post-op, especially for someone who's, a trans lesbian or a trans woman who's attracted to women and not just attracted to men. I think another problem that is really related to that is just not really feeling understood by potential cisgender dating partners, whether they're lesbian, bisexual, queer, or just any other non-heterosexual identity. But this is where I bring in genital preferences again, because I think I also play into a lot of these assumptions when I am looking for a partner, and not just when these other people are considering me as a partner, but when I'm considering them. I typically look for cis partners because I prefer a partner with a vagina. I just feel much more comfortable and more aroused and just more comfortable feeling intimate with a partner as a vagina compared to a partner as a penis, regardless of gender. Even with that, I am much, much more comfortable with a trans woman with a penis than I would ever be with a man with a penis or a man with a vagina. And I think this is a controversial subject for some to talk about because we want to be like, we want to just be attracted only to the gender. And yes, we often do, but I think denying that attraction to certain types of bodies or certain body parts or aspects of people, denying that is just lying, because a lot of us do have attractions to certain types of people, whether it's based on gender, whether it's based on, physical characteristics, whether it's height or secondary sex characteristics or primary sex characteristics or whatever it is. And yes, there are many of us out there that are bisexual or pansexual where the physical characteristics are maybe not as important, but there are many of us for which physical characteristics are important, and I'm one of those people. And I think it's okay and important to be honest and open about that. If we can't be honest and open about what we're attracted to, it's going to create some barriers in potential romantic relationships. Yeah, so I mean, long story short, generally I'm much more attracted to and more inclined to go for cisgender partners, or partners that I am, again, making assumptions that might be cisgender. Cis-passing partners is probably a more accurate way to describe it. I say all this because a lot of my dating has not changed post-SRS. I think in many ways it's gotten easier because I'm more comfortable and confident and more inclined to put myself out there. Not that I do very often, especially in a pandemic. I think there are complexities, like I mentioned, that may come up more often for a trans woman post-op who predominantly or solely dates men. Because I think there are more ties for men attracted to trans women, there are more ties to that pre-op status. I have not seen that as much, or I've seen that kind of in the opposite direction when it comes to women who are open to dating trans women, that I think more women attracted to women are willing to date post-op trans women compared to pre-op trans women. And I think it's kind of the opposite when it comes to men who are open to dating trans women. Whole complicated thing. Dating, romantic relationships, attraction, all that shit is super complex, which is again why I think it's pointless to kind of really argue about, are things like genital preferences transphobic? We are attracted to who we are attracted to. Yes, we can take time to deconstruct how we are socialized to be attracted to certain types of people or certain bodies. Very true. But at the end of the day, we're socialized so much to the point that that becomes internalized and that's who we're attracted to. And we can't really force someone to change their attraction, so attacking the person for their attraction is pointless. Teaching the next generation about how socialization works is kind of how we circumvent some of these deeper problems, but we're attracted to who we're attracted to. So I feel like I kind of went off on a lot of tangents here, just in terms of dating after SRS. For my personal experience, dating has gotten easier in some ways, but is still very difficult in a lot of the same ways that were present prior to SRS. Like, it's been easier in some ways because I am more comfortable and confident and more willing to put myself out there, but it's still difficult in all the same ways that I think exist prior to SRS in terms of all the assumptions that people put upon us as trans women in terms of like who we are, what we look like, what we sound like, what we act like, what body parts we have. Yeah, the assumptions that all trans women have penises and all trans women look like men. And then even worse, like the assumption from a lot of people that trans women are actually men, which is obviously not true. None of these stereotypes are flattering. Dating is a difficult process, and I think it's even more difficult for trans people just again because of the stereotypes and prejudice and just overall misunderstanding that exists around who we are and our bodies. We're just people too, looking for love, looking for relationships, looking to be loved. We're not looking to be somebody's curiosity or somebody's experiment. We're just looking for love and respect and to be treated as the gender that we are and as the humans that we are. I don't think that's too much to ask for because we are so much more than just trans. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. What are your reactions to my experiences about dating 2 years post SRS? What are your experiences, if you're comfortable sharing, with dating after having SRS yourself? And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you have not done so already, please give this a thumbs up, a share, a subscribe, and click that notification bell. Tipsy and I not only wish you all the love in the world, but we also wish and hope that you're staying safe and healthy during this tough time. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.